Lots of interview shows have come and gone over the years, but some are just not meant to last. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are 10 celebrities who got fired from their own podcasts. Number 10, Emily Ratajkowski. Model Emily Ratajkowski had her podcast silently shut down by Sony Group the same week that the company sacked a significant portion of its podcast division. High Low with Emma Rata premiered in early 2023 and released 3 episodes a week on topics about everything from politics, philosophy, feminism, TikTok, and of course, relationships. Though it was fairly popular among international listeners, it struggled to sell advertising because brands wanted to reach US consumers. The people in charge at Sony said that they were very confident that Emily would be able to sell her podcast on a new platform. At the moment, it seems that Sony's predictions were false, as the show has yet to find a new home. The show was officially canceled in September of this year, and so far it's safe to say that there just hasn't been enough time between A and B for her to find a new home. For fans of Ratajkowski, they simply have to wait and see what happens. Considering the pull that this woman has and the fan base that does exist in the US, it won't be long before you're listening to High Love with Emma Ratajkowski. Sorry, that has been in my head since the moment I first said her name out loud. Number 9, Nick Cannon. Famous MC and baby maker Nick Cannon was fired from his podcast Cannon's Class and his longtime improv show Wild and Out. He was filmed making some pretty anti-Semitic statements that resulted in major backlash. Viacom CBS, the company that produces both shows, released a statement saying that they were deeply troubled that Nick had failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism and had decided to terminate their relationship with him. He took to Twitter to share his apology, in which he apologized to the Jewish community for putting them in such a painful position, which was of course never his intention. But he knows that the whole situation has hurt many people, and together that they would make it right. He added that he tried to reach out to Viacom to clear the air and nobody responded. However, Viacom claims that that did not happen. On top of his apology, he demanded full ownership of Wild and Out, a brand that he helped create. He called Viacom deceptive and claimed that they had been mistreating and robbing himself and the acting community for years, underpaying talent on their biggest brands like hip hop, BET, and of course Wild and Out. Cannon's comments were actually very anti-Semitic. Like, I had every intention of quoting some of them for you guys, but I honestly just can't find one that needs to be repeated. He said some truly demeaning things about the Jewish community, and him being fired from a podcast should be the least of his concerns. Number 8, Meghan Markle. Only a few months after announcing their exit from the royal family, Meghan announced that herself and Harry had signed a multi-year deal with Spotify to produce a podcast. They claimed that the show was designed to help build a community through shared experiences, narratives, and values. Their announcement did not include how much the couple were getting paid, though, which ended up being, a modest $20 million, just your average everyday paycheck. However, from the moment that this thing kicked off the ground, Spotify had grown reportedly frustrated with the couple's content and their lack of productivity. According to executives at Spotify, the couple were taking way too long to actually build a team to produce episodes. There wasn't even a real structure to how things were going to be recorded. 6 months later, they produced one 33-minute holiday special. 6 months for 33 minutes of chit-chat. Many people started to question what was going on behind the scenes, because in that 33 minutes, there were guests like Elton John, Deepak Chopra, Stacey Abrams, and so many other people popping by. Why not just sit down with all those people for an hour each, like other people do? Joe Rogan does it. Nothing came after this episode for almost an entire year, but eventually they hired an audio lead. Several people denied her requests to join the podcast. As I have mentioned in previous videos about Meghan specifically, Taylor Swift actually denied a request to be on the show, which was a basically handwritten letter to her front door. Despite releasing regular episodes, the team posted on social media claiming that all the credit for their show should go to the underpaid and undervalued producers. Spotify eventually decided to cancel the show for a few reasons, but mainly because they spent a year of their deal not doing anything. Despite the success that the show eventually received, Meghan was canned for good. So fun fact, a lot of people have not been fired from podcasts. So for the rest of this list, we're going to be talking about people who were on their own talk shows and were unceremoniously let go. And to start it off, number 7, Sarah Silverman. Sarah is a very popular stand-up comedian. For a little while, she was out on the picket lines of the SAG strike, but now that's over, so awesome. But for a few years, she was sitting cozy on the set of her very own talk show called I Love You America. The show was aimed to give Sarah an outlet to poke fun at current political and emotional landscapes of the country. She would also from time to time bring on some celebrity guests to discuss their pasts and share stories. There was a lot going on for Sarah, whether it was connecting with firemen in Texas over making accidents in their pants, to going on a blind date with a conservative lobbyist in DC. She was never holding back. The show was pretty well received among Sarah's fans, but the executives over at Hulu just didn't appreciate the content of the show, and apparently big budget studios don't like it when you get political. Oh, weirdos. The show only lasted one season spanning 21 episodes, and it was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Variety Sketch in 2018 before its untimely demise. So at least she went away with a nomination. Number 6, Lily Singh. Lily got her start on YouTube in 2010, but quickly became a very successful woman both in film and on TV, being casted in projects like Bad Moms, Ice Age, and Dr. Cabby. In 2019, Lily was offered the chance to host her own late-night talk show, A Little Late with Lily Singh. The show was meant to be a follow-up to the popular show Last Call with Carson Daly, with Chrissy Teigen being offered the job at first. She turned down NBC, who then offered the job to Lily. The moment that the show premiered, things started going downhill fast. Now, while fans of Lily were tuning in and loving it, anyone else on the planet was annoyed, confused, and a little bit angry. The first episode has been summarized by thousands of reviews, like this is not me, as white men bad, Lily is bi, end of show. That's it, that's the review. Her show received massive amounts of hate, quickly garnering a 1-star review out of 10, something that I actually haven't seen while researching a topic yet here, so that's kinda neat. The hate continued towards Lily for 2 more seasons, 2 whole seasons, before they announced that the show was being cancelled by NBC. She simultaneously announced a deal with Netflix, setting herself to star in a new show, and I'm pretty sure that just premiered not that long ago. Lesson learned, no matter how controversial you are, there is always room at Netflix. Number 5, T.J. Miller. Before being accused of misconduct by several women and having his career cancelled entirely, Miller was on a hot streak, starring in Silicon Valley and the Deadpool franchise. In 2017, he was given a green light to host an 8-episode talk series called The Gore Burger Show. But unlike normal talk shows, this was meant to act as both a talk show and a straight-up TV series. Miller voiced a massive blue furry puppet thing named Gore Burger. The alien takes a Japanese talk show hostage, and he learns what it means to be a true human from various celebrity guests, including Tig Notaro, Larry King, Rob Corddry, and Reggie Watts. The show was created after the success of the short sketch series of the same name on the Funny or Die YouTube channel, which is also responsible for the Weird Al Yankovic movie. Thank you guys so much for that one. In fact, it ran for 2 seasons on YouTube before being picked up for Prime TV. The concept was neat and had clearly been working online, however the show was cancelled after only 8 episodes due to the lack of star power that they were able to land on the show. And not to mention it was on super late at night. I'm pretty sure I watched this at like 1 in the morning regularly. However, some say the show was cancelled due to the allegations that were brought against Miller, as the cancellation announcement was only 1 week after the news began making headlines. Whether it was the controversy, the lack of celebs, the late night spot, who knows? This is one talk show that may return with a new voice behind the monster. I'd kinda like to see that. Number 4, George Lopez. George Lopez was one of the most bankable men around, and he kinda still is. His comedic talents and eccentric personality make him instantly entertaining, so much so that he was given his own sitcom in the 90s, but we're here to talk about his talk show, Lopez Tonight. The show first aired in November 2009 on TBS. They actually didn't feature all that many celebrity guests and mainly relied on audience interactions and George being a wild, energetic man. He did have some guests appear, with Kobe Bryant and Ellen DeGeneres being the most notable. Fortunately though, around the end of 2010, there was a massive feud between The Tonight Show and Conan O'Brien that caused him to quit the series and sign on with TBS to create his own show, which meant that Lopez would be pushed from a primetime 11 p.m. slot to like midnight, which is a lot less exciting. This move caused a steep decline in ratings, and as of August 2011, they decided to cancel his show entirely. The short-lived show will be remembered though as a good time, as the decline only came from the time change. The show itself was very well received, and I would not be surprised if a revival was ever in the works. Please make that happen. I love George Lopez. He was the only good part of Blue Beetle. Number 3, Kris Jenner. Simply titled Kris, the momager of the Kardashian clan, starred in a 6-week test run of a talk show. Not only did it receive terrible reviews, but it was cancelled before it was even picked up. Frank Kitcha, senior VP and president of programming at Fox TVS, admitted that he knew by the time that the test ended, the show was just not gonna work. He claimed that Kris was uninteresting. She was trying to capitalize on her name and not her ability to, entertain people. When the cameras were on, she looked like a deer in headlights. She had trouble reading the prompters, and the conversations that she would have with her guests almost always felt like she was trying to take some kind of a survey. Where are you from? What's your hobbies? Which one of these pictures is not a sailboat? Are you a robot? He praised her hard work, but ultimately the project was a flop from the start. In fact, the studio later received hate mail aimed towards Kris, claiming her show would have been one of the worst Kardashian moves ever made. Or maybe this next one would have been. Number 2, Khloe Kardashian. The Kardashian clan have tried many tactics over the years to increase their never-ending flow of cash. Big sister Khloe decided that she wanted to do something outside of keeping up with the Kardashians while still being her real, authentic self. So, an online media outlet called FYI greenlit a talk series starring Khloe and her celebrity guests indulging in adult beverages while being interviewed, and called it Cocktails with Khloe, but with a K, because they're Kardashians. Get it? She essentially created an environment where she could get paid to drink all day and chat with her friends, which is exactly what the show became. Unable to secure A-list celebrities, she forced her family to appear on the show along with several of her reality star friends, and her sisters even forced their friends to appear, like Snoop Dogg and Chrissy Teigen. Khloe acted as the producer of the series and would regularly clash with basically everyone on staff about what direction things should go in. The drama, combined with the behavior of Khloe Kardashian behind the scenes, caused them to cancel the show, releasing only 14 episodes of the planned 23. And at number 1, Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada and her husband Will have made headlines in the news several times over the years, usually for something terrible like infidelity or face smacking or, being separated for 7 years. But earlier this year it was announced that her Facebook talk show Red Table Talk was going to be cancelled following several years on Meta. The decision was made following the distribution company's shift to no longer produce independent content, despite having a pretty solid slew of guests. The topics tended to drift into too much information territory, with her sit down with husband Will Smith being one of the more revealing episodes, and it still turned out there was more to be told. The show featured Jada, her mother, Adrienne Banfield Norris, and her daughter, Willow Smith, discussing various topics, with mom Jada being the main host when it came time to the heavy one-on-ones. Jada herself has been shaded in controversy over the past few years as more infidelity rumors seem to be brought up, and oh look, it was all true. Everything was true. Go read her book or go watch one of our 20 videos about Jada Pinkett Smith. That woman is not okay. Her show was taken off of the internet, and despite trying to find a new home somewhere else, it's looking like that show will never see the light of day again. Thank the Lord. Those are 10 celebrities fired from their own shows. If you stuck around to the end, thank you very much. You rock. Please sign my online petition to reinstate the Sarah Silverman show. Leave a like on the video if you had fun, and follow the channel for more celebrity content each and every day if you haven't already. Thank you for stopping beyond the screen. We'll see you next time.